Asper IT. Guys, this stage is yours.
Thank you, Anya, for introduction.
Hello.
No, hello. Hello, everyone. Yes, my name is Agata Białkowska-Samul. I am a senior employer branding specialist at Allegro. I'm super excited to have my panelists here together. And we will be talking about diversity, about diverse teams. But let me introduce my guests. So we've got Violetta Klimczak, who is co-founder and CEO at Fundacja IT Girls, and she is also a spiritus movens of this discussion panel. IT Girls Foundation mission is to increase the number of women in technology professions, and this is Viola's website, where I found that only less than 10% of software developers in the world are female.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. We have around the world, we have like 6 till 7 or 8 girls, yeah, and women. So yeah, the numbers are not perfect.
Yeah, that made an impression on me. We've got Kuba Kubryński, founder and CEO of DevSkiller, which helps companies to build a future-ready workforce by assessing and growing tech talents. And what impresses me a lot is that Kuba kicked off with his company in 2013, as far as I'm concerned. And since then, they have clients in more than 90 countries, and they assess candidates from more than 140 countries. And, those numbers make me think of DevSkiller as a real melting culture pot, like everyone is there.
Yeah, so we are like working with the software developers all over the world and all continents except Antarctica for now. And also internally we have people from many continents, and even if we're like a pretty small company, like having less than 50 people, we already have people from like probably 7 or 8 countries internally, so yeah.
Truly cross-cultural organization.
Exactly.
And we've got also Paweł Wojtyczka, who is the founder and CEO at Asper IT, a company that recruits, trains, and hires autistic people in IT. Paweł not only hires those unique people, but they also help to do so in other companies. And when I was making a little research on this, I found that there is somewhere between 10 and 20% of global population who is considered neurodivergent. This is according to Deloitte. And most of those in autism spectrum get a label of people with no social skills who cannot cope in the real world. And I guess that we will somehow go back to this topic in the discussion, but it also moved me, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you. As Asper IT, we started as a foundation, and we wanted only to prepare these people to work in IT. But after a few years, when these people still have a problem to be employed in companies, we decided to create the company, and now we hire these people as testing software. So we want to show through this that these people are amazing in the work, and in this way we want to give a proof that it's worth to hire these people. And we help big companies also hire these people and work with them after hiring, because it's also very important.
I'm sure we'll go back to this during our discussion. Here we are, and we're going to talk about diverse teams. And I think that in the past few years, the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion has become very popular. Companies implement strategies, hire experts in the field. But what does it actually mean? And let's make a quick exercise. Right now, try to imagine someone in a board meeting. Who is this person? Try to imagine a feminist. Who is this person? Is this a male or female? And imagine a CEO. Is it a try to answer in your head those questions? So is it a disabled or not disabled person? Is it a male or female? What color? Skin color is that person? And of course, with this little exercise, we are touching the very basic and very primarily dimension of diversity.
Maybe can I add here
Yes,
some
please.
comments, Agata, because I have heard, because we can think about when it started, yeah, because as you mentioned, when we are thinking about CEO, in most of cases we are thinking about some men, and there was some research done on this, and the research was for kids, yeah? They were between 4, 5, and 6 years, and they were like discussing with those young people, and they were asking, okay, so here we have the person who is very successful in business, etc., and they were asking really basic question, like, is it a male or female, yeah? And people, I mean, young children around 4, they were also, women say it's woman, for sure, it's woman, men the same. In 5 years, girls say, no, it must be a man. So it's starting really very, very early, yeah?
And yes, and this is why we're talking about this, yes. So of course, these are the primary dimensions of diversity, and they are such as gender, age, ethnicity, physical ability, race, and sexual orientations. Secondary dimensions of diversity are those that can be changed somehow and include, but not limited to, educational background, geographic location, income, marital status, military experience, parental status, religious beliefs, and so on. And there are so many of them. So why to even take them into consideration? Of course, I've made also my research, and I found that there is that it pays off. That companies with diverse teams have bigger revenue. But I also found that according to Silicon Valley Bank, only 26% of startups are making deliberate efforts to improve diversity among their leadership teams. And this is the moment I would like to ask you guys, what do you think? Viola, let's start with you.
Sure.
What do you think? Why is diversity in teams important, and why actually are we talking about this topic here on Wolf Summit conference?
Yeah, I think that here we have a lot of startups, yeah? And you have mentioned that only 25% of them are thinking about such things. And maybe when we are discussing on such conference about diversity, maybe we can increase this number in future, and it will be perfect, yeah, because maybe I will add here some example, which for me it's a very good one. Do you know the Uber application? Yes, so
yeah, we heard of, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Today morning we are also using this application, and a few years ago there were a lot of situations like. There were cases where a woman was on travel to their home or something like this, and they do not feel safe with the driver, yeah? And then, a few years ago, they haven't any option to report this issue to, I do not know, to the company like Uber or to her families, etc. And yeah, there were a lot of cases, and a lot of those cases were very, very bad. I do not want to go to this topic further, but after this situation, the people and the team in Uber were asking, okay, so what we can do to change it, yeah, to make it feel better. And now we have like safety button. I do not know if you are familiar that in Uber, etc., and another application like this, we have like safety button. And for example, now when you're driving with the driver and you do not feel safe, you can just report this. And also your location is sending to your family, etc., to people that you have. And this example, I would like to show you that we have different perspective. We are totally different people, and it's perfect, yeah? So you're creating some products, you are creating some services, and I will really recommend to try to ask ourselves, what can I bring with, for example, another perspective? Because it's not only about the gender, yeah, it's also about the age, the culture, as you mentioned, Agata, yeah, that we have a lot of different possibilities. Our experience is also totally different. We have a different background. And I can also say that, for example, for me personally, now, different things are important than in the next few years. And this is why I think that diversity is very important, because we can think about such situation a little bit before, yeah? So maybe this product, it will be more unique and you can sell it to more people because you cover all functionalities that can be there.
Okay. Paweł, what?
It's very important what you said about that we can have different perspective when we have people who are different. Nobody is better or worse, but they are different. And in our case, because I can say about our cases in Asper IT, it's amazing because when we've got autistic people who are testers of the software, they see a lot of things which we don't notice. And this gives our clients a big value because they don't have spent so much time to test the software because they just see some other things. And what is also very important, in our team we've got people who are in the spectrum of autism, but for example some of them are also don't see well, so they are very good in testing WCAG standards. So the standard which helps people who don't see well, and these people are not only the good testers, but they also are natural receiver of this technology, this standard. So it gives a lot of worth for our clients. And to sum up, when you've got different people in your team, then you have wider perspective and you can develop your software, your products much faster.
Okay, thank you, Kuba.
Yeah, so basically I like the topic of this panel because it's like not only how to build diverse teams, and there are a lot of panels about how to build, and no one is like asking why. So I believe the problem that so like few startups are like investing into diverse teams is that they see no value about that. And from my perspective, there are a few very important values of having like a diverse team or more multicultural team. And I remember a few situations, like one was when we were going to Dubai for some exhibition or something like this. And we prepared the marketing materials, and we were very happy with these materials. Unless someone like saw that and said, it's wrong. You are going to Arabic countries, so the most important things should be on the right-hand side, not on the left-hand side, how we do in Europe. And that was something that we said, yeah, that's obvious, but we were not thinking about that because we were not like born or grew in this culture. So that's like something that is game changer, because otherwise these marketing materials won't be effective at all, because like these people really in the different order. And also what Viola mentioned about this Uber button, etc. It's like the problem is that not having people in the team, of course, prevents you from like let's say founding such a feature internally, but the problem is that often you also like misinterpret the feedback given by the users, because our culture and our recent experience is also something that is clearly related to how we receive feedback and how we listen to the information. Even right now, I'm pretty sure that me saying about something will be understood in a very different way by different people who are listening to us. And so I believe that explaining why is pretty important. And the last thing I want to mention is that I was reading some time ago a history of the Polish special forces that are called GROM, and how it started. And it was founded in, I believe, like 98 or 99, so almost like 20 years ago. And Petelicki, who was like founder of GROM, he decided at the very, very early stage to hire women in the special forces. And of course, the first reaction, and think about like Poland 25 years ago, like post-communist country, and someone who's going to the special force guys and saying, yeah, so now you will work with women. And they say, why? They are so weak, they are so slow, they are not able to push like 140 kilograms on the bench. And he said that you will very quickly realize that without this woman in the team, you won't be able to complete your tasks. And that was like, that was it. And very shortly, they realized that he was right, because after the situation like in Iraq and Afghanistan started, they were not able to like do a lot of stuff. They were not able to like, for example, touch the woman to see if someone is not hiding a gun, because men are not able to do that. Women in Afghanistan were able to do that. So that's the first thing. There were many places where men were not able to enter, and the women were able to enter, and they said that after 2 weeks in Iraq or Afghanistan, they said, okay, so now we see that we won't be able to complete the battle tasks without a diverse team. So that was like huge for me. If very strong men understood that they are not able to work effectively without diverse teams.
Okay.
One more sentence. It's very important what you said, because we shouldn't look at this by creating diverse teams, but we should do it because we should do it because it gives you some real benefits. And for example, as you said about army, for example, this year Israel army wants to recruit 500 people with autism to the cybersecurity division. And I suppose that Israel army don't do it because CSR or something like that. They do it because they've got some benefits because of that. So this is also very important, especially for startups who don't have a lot of money very often, and they should focus on creating this kind of teams, diverse teams, because they will give them real benefits.
Yeah, I think that you have also mentioned a very important thing, but I will also add here one more comment, because I think that now, as you mentioned, we have a lot of discussion about diversity. We are for most of us, it's okay, for sure we should have diverse team, but this is exactly what I would like to mention here, that we must also feel this, because now I think that we have a time where our authentication and what we are thinking is the most important thing. So if, for example, you do not think that you should have, I do not know, for example, 25 or 50% women in your team because you do not see any value, I think that it's better if you stay with your mind, yeah, and if you create something authentic, because for me personally, this is the most important thing. Don't go with some kind of KPIs, etc., because yeah, I think that it's very important to feel what we are doing, and maybe we, for example, when we ask ourselves the question why we should have those diversity, maybe then we can find also our argument, yeah, okay, maybe this is something new for me, and maybe I haven't seen such problems, such issue before, and maybe now you can see your value, yeah, and it will be not only numbers for you, but it will be your value, yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think it's super also important what you have mentioned, and I was thinking that there might be many ways we can follow, an organization can follow. I believe that there are people who will hear that if they have, I don't know, greater diversity among their leadership or management teams, and they will have 19% higher innovation revenue, and it might be something that will change mind of someone to and make them focus on actually building this diverse teams. And for other, it would be to have a cultural organization, strong cultural organization, and based on values which will attract other candidates. So I think that the ways might be very different. But honestly, why to try so hard? And I think it's kind of complicated to build a diverse team. You have to secure the team with different type of communication. You have to try hard to have everyone on the same page. I don't know. It might be a challenge also for the company owners to secure environment for everyone. Why? I don't know. What are the benefits?
In my opinion, because there is not enough experts on the market, so we have to be open for other people if we want to have the best experts in some field. Just because if we are talking about business, sorry, but it's a business. So when we talk with big companies, of course, these all things connected with CSR are very important, and it's also very important for business.
All those things connected with CSR.
The core thing, in my opinion, is that there is not enough experts, so we have to be open for other people, for different people, to have the best team.
Okay, so but when you think about the diverse team, what do you have in mind, Paweł?
Of course, because I work in Asper IT, I focus on, especially on people with autism, but what we can see also in our organization, in our foundation, we've got a lot of women, and for me, a few years ago, it wasn't normal, because I worked especially with men. But now I see a lot of very good thing, because we've got women who looks different in some problems which we have, and they've got some other skills which we didn't have. So in this perspective, it's a good way for us. If we are talking about people with autism, as I said, we can have many more perspectives on solving some problems or challenges.
I think that it's also very important from our perspective, I mean managers and owners of startups and companies, to create some safe space for all those people. Because if you have some space to say, and you know that if you say something, nobody judge you and nobody say, oh my goodness, you are thinking such a way, then you can see that a lot of people would like to share with you your ideas, your comments, because they feel comfortable with such situation, and they know that they are different, and it's okay, and it's beautiful that they are different. And I think that this is big challenge for us as owners or different companies to create such space, because I also know from my point of view, together with my sister, we are working in foundation. We have a lot of different workshops with small children, and we can see that at the beginning of each workshop, we can see that those people do not want to say nothing. And when we say like 5 minutes, like just we're talking and we are saying that here is your space, we do not judge you, and it's beautiful that you are different, then at the end of each workshops, they are saying really beautiful things. And I think that here is also the similar situation with our companies.
Yeah, I also believe that we are talking a lot about the diversity, but the first step is, as you said, like do not exclude anyone, because like building a team that is like diverse and like focusing on like looking for different people at the early stage, so at the stage of the recruitment, is the one thing, but ensuring that you're not excluding anyone and you're not like judging someone that, hey, you're thinking that way just because you're a woman or you're unexperienced or you're young or you're, I don't know, black or something like this. That's the first problem that we need to like fight and ensure that we are not excluding anyone. And at DevScale, we're not like forcing to build a diverse team from the very beginning, but I can like clearly say that from the very early stage, we're not excluding anyone. And I believe that we have diverse team right now, mostly because we're not excluding.
What does it mean that you do not exclude? How does it work?
Maybe I can add here my story, because it's perfect. Yeah, because I was studying also computer science, and I had like really thousands of situations that, oh really, you do not like, I can see that you're like computer science, and I say, is it compliment or how should I trust it? And so I think that all of us, when we are seeing somebody, okay, he's looking like computer science guy, because he has a shirt with those, so I think that this is also about tagging.
Yeah, but still, it's like when you're hiring someone, and we had many times situations when someone let's say we have a woman, right, and this woman like is very competent in my opinion, and still I saw that this woman is trying to like use some external authorities to like confirm her words, and I say, hey, I don't need this confirmation. Like I trust you. You don't need to tell me that it's something that was said by some CEO, and that's why we are doing that. We are doing that because you believe that it's a good way to go. So I believe that's a very important thing. I remember a few situations in like previous companies when we have people like with like some small disabilities, and I saw like in HR that no, I'm not sure if we should hire these people. Maybe there will be some issues later on with I don't know, some fire alarms or something like this. I don't care. Like this person is like skilled, so let's hire this guy or girl, etc. So I believe that that's the first thing. When you show that you are not excluding anyone because someone is, I don't know, like transgender and etc. And you like treat people like seriously, and you take a look at the skills, abilities, etc. Not like their like religion, skin color, like the sexual orientation, etc. Then it will benefit because people see that you are like not judging them, as Violeta mentioned, but you're like looking at their skills and what they can offer. You not like all of the other things that you mentioned at the beginning. There are a lot, so it will be even hard to do that. And the last thing that it's not standard in Europe, but few years ago, like 12 years ago, I was applying for the company in US or in UK, and in the like survey I needed to fill, there were a lot of like personal information, like what's your religion, what's your sex orientation, what's your and it was why. And that was very strange for me, and I asked them why you are doing that, and they said, yeah, because like we are ensuring that we have like equal number of people with different like religions, etc. I said, okay, like that's like looks like building diversity, like to have a diversity, not to like be able to resolve the problems, and as Pavel mentioned, like the business, right?
One short story from our experience. Because we don't only hire people in our company, but we also recruit people for other companies and big companies. For now, for example, we hire people to Procter & Gamble in Poland, and we also hired for some other company. And we help them find the autistic person, and this client had very big problem with his client. And nobody wanted to work with this client because of PM on the other side. And they put our autistic person to this project because this person didn't know that this client is very hard. And after a few weeks, this autistic person said that he sees that this PM is in the spectrum of autism. And that's why it's very difficult for other people to communicate with this person. And he started to communicate with him. And this company was very close to close this project because of this PM. And this, our autistic person, who we hired to this company, actually rescued this project because he communicated very well with this person, and everything started to be okay. So this shows that when you've got different perspective, different people in your team, you can have better projects with your clients.
This person also acted as a kind of a coach for this PM.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, I think that we've jumped a little bit into my another question, which is about the barriers that you see when it comes to create such a team, and when you actually would like to invite different diverse people, but there might be some bias within the team, within the company, or sometimes I think also it's the same situation when it comes to girls that at some point would like to develop and educate in technology, and at some point they just change their mind. And I think it is also a challenge when building a diverse team. So what kind of barriers do you see?
So maybe I will start. So I believe that the first thing is what we mentioned, do not exclude. And I know that I'm repeating myself, but basically if you're hiring people who have different opinion and different perspective, you should listen to these people and listen to this perspective. So that's the first thing, because often we are hiring people to show us the different perspective, but then we
How to
dislike
listen
this
with someone
perspective.
who has different perspective.
Yeah, that's like, I don't like your perspective, it's different than mine, so let's go with mine. So that's the first thing, that there are some times that you need to shut up and listen. So that's the first thing. And the second barrier that I see is that like the cultural differences or even the age differences requires from you to learn how to work and how to communicate with these people. Because, for example, recently we hired a lot of young people, and these are the people that require immediate feedback. They're like, you know, used to like posting the photo on Facebook, and after like 20 seconds they know how many likes they have under this photo, so then they can assess if this photo is good or not. And unfortunately they expect the same for the work they are doing. So they are like saying, hey, I did it. I say, okay, and they're waiting for something,
for hearts,
for feedback, for saying, yeah, it's very good. Okay, thank you. So like that's the one that I believe that the same applies for the people with the spectrum of autism. That if you hire such people, you need to learn how to communicate with them and how to work with them, right? So I believe that these are the two barriers. So first, shut up, and the second one, like learn how to communicate with these people.
Yeah, I think that everything is about the communication. Yeah.
Yes, that's why very often when we start to cooperate with some companies, big companies, we start with trainings of neurotypical people, so people typical, who are called typical, because they don't have knowledge how to work with people with autism. And this is the biggest problem, because a few years ago, many people thought that these people will come to the company and I don't know, they kill someone or they will come with axe and they will scream. Really, this was what...
This is this label of people who cannot cope with the society, that have no social skills.
Yeah. So very often we start with training typical people, how autistic people behave, what causes that they don't feel well or comfortable in the company. And what is very interesting, because we've got many autistic people who we hire to big companies, and now we are mentors and coaches for managers and typical employees in the companies, and 99% of problems we can solve. Actually, we don't solve it. We just give the knowledge to these people, and then they understand, and they don't have problems with people who are a bit different in some way.
I also have one, a funny situation to mention, as you mentioned, about like being typical. And I remember that a few years ago we hired like an extra introvert software engineer. So the guy who was not a team player, he preferred to do work on his own. And then I realized that recently, unfortunately, I realized that it's often context-based, because this guy came to me after 2 years working in our company, and he said that he's leaving the company because he just realized that he's ultra extroverted person, and he wants to spend the rest of his life on going to conferences, to meetups, talking to people, etc. And that's what he's going to do, and he don't want to sit and code anymore. So
what has happened on the way?
Yeah, so basically, I believe that it was the context. It was how we work in the company, but that was ultra fast conversion from being a non-typical to typical person, or the other way. It depends on how we are going to call the typical person, right?
I also wanted to ask Viola about the barriers also in the mindset of potential candidates in terms of women in technology.
Yeah, I think that we have a lot of such barriers, yeah, and here we are talking about the diversity, and I think that this diversity is also very important for young people who are looking for their new job, yeah, because I think that those new gender Z that is coming now to our market, that they are looking for some different part of work. I mean, they are
Generation.
yeah, the generation. Yeah, they are looking for a job with some mission, etc. And they prefer to do not earn so many money, but they must feel what they are doing. So I think that it's also good to communicate what we are doing, that we have diverse teams, and why it's important for us. Yeah, and why do we have those diverse teams? Because I think that those our mission and what we are doing, and what do we think about such topics, it's important for young people.
Yes, but also I was thinking about this barrier. We were talking before this panel, and I was surprised by the numbers that you have raised. That's really important to encourage girls to go to develop in technologies, as there is a point that they decide to stop or to choose another subject or another educational way because...
Yeah, exactly. So this is why, because we do not know this yet, but I hope that in this year we would like to know this, because it's also what our foundation is doing. Yeah, because we do not know why. But exactly as you mentioned, there was also some research done, and it seems that there is not such situation that girls do not interest in technologies, because they are. And this age where we can see that the girls are really very interested in new technologies is between 11 and 12. And then we do not know what
something happens.
Yes, something happens, and when we are discussing with women who, for example, are now around 30, they are saying, for me, it's nothing new. Yeah, I also my idea it was also to go to study computer science, but I have heard that why you shouldn't go there, because it's not for girls. For me, it's really incredible, because I haven't heard such situation and such sentence because from my parents and also from my family, but we have really a lot of such cases that a lot of young girls are like, why you shouldn't go there. And there's also another research, and that was done. Yeah, I know I'm a specialist for research, but it's also what we are doing in foundation, because a lot of people like numbers, me too. So the research was done, and we can see that only 25% of girls who decided to go to study computer science and another technological things were not hearing like, you shouldn't do this. Yeah, so it's terrible for me. So maybe it's also the case that maybe if, for example, next time we have such situation that we hear, and for example, we can hear from our I don't know, friends or someone like this, that it's saying some girl, hey, you shouldn't do this. Maybe let's react and let's say why. It's perfect that you would like to go there. Yeah. So I think that it's our responsibility, our human responsibility, to do not just, okay, he told it, but it wasn't the situation about me. Maybe let's react the next time and say it's perfect that your daughter or that your sister or someone would like to go and it's passionate about technology. Yeah. So yeah.
And then suggest to implement this warning button in Uber much more.
Exactly.
Earlier, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that there are like two things that are also worth covering, because like regarding this building diverse team, a lot of like big companies would love to have like 50% of software engineers being a woman, like from today. And no one realizes that it's impossible, like for all of the companies, because we don't have so many like women who code. As Viola mentioned, it's like 7 or 8%.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah, exactly. But the problem is that many companies prefer to go to shortcuts. Let's do some program to hire these girls, but they're not there. And on the other hand, I've heard, unfortunately, a lot of situations when there were, for example, software testers, so the QA engineers. And in QA engineers, when you take a look at the gender, then you will realize that in many companies, more than half of the QA engineers are women. Like I believe that that's mostly because they are like more focused on details. So something that for men is like, yeah, it works, like who cares? Then women say, no, it's not working. It should be like done according to the documentation. Where women, no, it's like more or less it's fine. And I've heard that a lot of these women try to like move or jump from like being a QA engineer to being a software engineer, and these companies were not so eager to help them. So they said, yeah, let's hire women software engineers, but like build them internally, like invest. No, it makes no sense. Let's hire them. Like let's find them on the market. So I believe that's the problem. And the funny situation is that in most cases, these girls or women who are just leaving this company are joining other companies as software developers. And I believe that the company they left just hired the same situation. So they hired girls who like left the quality assurance from the other company, and that's something that is like not working. And
I think this might be a barrier in companies to employ women on junior positions to develop them, and they're not ready to let them go, or maybe what they should ask, what to do to keep them in the company, in the organization.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it's more often that companies are eager to hire juniors than to allow someone who is working already in, I don't know, sales or marketing or QA to move and reskill to be a junior software developer. It's often, no, you're experienced QA, you are needed here, not there. So the person is still living, and that makes no sense.
So the terms of internal mobility.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that the internal mobility is one of the best ways of like improving the diversity especially in IT, where we just need to look for the people who we can reskill to these IT related jobs from the other departments.
Okay. Tell me, what do you think? What might be the fast, or maybe not that fast, but quite simple ways that might support organization in building inclusive culture and diverse teams? I remember that when we were talking, we also, Kuba, you were mentioning that there's a lot of children in DevSkiller, and they're very often, women are afraid of...
But these children are not working.
Yeah, oh yes, which is important to mention, thank you. Yes. There are a lot of parents in DevSkiller.
Yeah. There are, and I believe that it's still like similar to exclusion. If you're not excluding these people for having kids, then more and more people are having kids. I remember when I was working 10 years ago for Allegro, that the same situation was in Allegro, and there were even like a kindergarten in Poznan in the office where you needed to you were allowed to put your kids and even spend 1 hour during the day during the lunch break with the kids. So yeah, I believe that if you are not punishing anyone for having a kid, or if you are not punishing someone that's saying, hey, I cannot be on the meeting today because my kid is sick. It's normal that kids get sick, and of course they usually get sick in the less appropriate time. So when you have the very important meeting, then it's 90% probability that the kid will get sick, or there will be some accident. And I believe that because I have 2 kids and my co-founder Marek have 3 kids, it's normal for us. And when someone is saying, hey, my kid is sick, I say, yeah, I know, that's not a problem. So we are not punishing that. And I believe that's also something that is helping us to get more and more people, because they are not excluded, they are not judged for that. And of course, what's your fault in the situation when your kid is getting sick? It's not your fault. You have nothing to do with that, right? So I believe that being clear about that, communicating that is very important area.
Yeah, I think that here's also good space for us as managers to create some internal politics and say, for example, that it's normal that, for example, that is also going to some leave, yeah, because of children. And I think that it's perfect that we are starting to discuss about such topics because it should be normal, yeah. You have also, and at our conversation back, we have also mentioned that in some country it was already done, yeah, that this.
There's some Scandinavia country, I believe, when there is like a 1 year maturity leave, then like the 6 month can be spent by a mother, the 6 month can be spent at the father, and it cannot be like moved or switched. So it's not a situation where when a mother can take like 12 months, you have just 6, and if you want another 6, then like then the second part needs to take that.
Yeah, and I think that it's also very important to do not judge because I have heard from my friends out of situation. Like, for example, my friend was coming back after her leave to the company after like 3 or 6 months, and she was like hearing, "You are a bad mother because now you prefer to work, not to staying with kid." Yeah, so yeah, do not judge. And I think that the conversation, we are totally different, yeah, and I think that also about this one is this panel. And I think that it's also good to sometimes, even if we think something, let's just keep it for us because then we do not know. For example, my friend, when she was hearing such sentence, now she's staying at home. Because yeah, she was, oh, maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong mother because I prefer to work. And yeah, so this is what I would like to mention here also.
Paweł, would you like to add something?
My conclusion is that we should create a very good, comfortable environment for people to work. And what is also very important from my perspective, from my experience, is that when we were a small organization, we created, just by accident actually, the culture of our organization. And I wasn't very, I didn't think that it have a big impact for organization before we did it. But when we created the culture of organization, what we can do, what are the rules, for example, that we don't speak about politicians. And it changed our organization. So, for example, if you create the culture of organization where we write down that you accept that people with autism can work with us, but they need some other environment, that people have children, and, for example, they need to work sometimes in the evening. And it sounds very simple, and we can think that it's not needed. But when you write it down and when you've got this in your organization, people are changing, from my experience. And it's also very important for us when we recruit people to our organization. Before we recruit someone, we tell this person that you should read the culture of organization, take a look at that, tell us if it's okay for you, if you agree with that. And this is one of the most important things when we recruit people, because then we know that we've got the people with whom we want to work, and we are sure that these people knows our rules, and they will accept it, and this changing our organization very much.
There is like pretty famous sentence that is saying that the culture is eating strategy for breakfast. And there are many companies that are like defining a strategy, but they don't have the culture to execute this strategy. So you can say that our strategy is to like hire people with the spectrum of autism, but if you don't have culture to support that, you will fail. I believe that the same works for diverse teams. You can have a strategy that you will have a like diverse team, but unless you like have a proper culture, it will fail, and it will fail very, very badly.
Exactly, and this is what I was thinking when I was preparing for this panel. Where is this exact moment that you decide that you want to build a diverse team? Is it a moment that you create a design, a recruitment process that is inclusive? No. Is it a moment that you decide before that you would like to have a diverse team? So let's think how to approach different type of candidates. I know. I think it's even one step further. It's like the moment that you are ready to also support different people And so it is the moment that you're creating a culture, and a culture is created when you are creating an organization. So it's the very, very beginning.
I believe it happens even earlier, because I believe that if someone is not an asshole, then this person is not excluding anyone else. And if you have like assholes in the company, you can say that the culture is to like include people and do not like judge anyone, but it won't work because they're the wrong people. So what Pavel mentioned about testing the culture fit, everyone is testing about the culture fit, but just a few people, I believe, that they understand what does it mean to test the culture fit. And I believe that verifying the culture fit in the recruitment process and ensuring that we are not like allowing to hire anyone who will exclude people, judge people, and will be just an asshole. That's the most important part. And I believe that that's something that you don't need to learn that. You have it or you don't have it. And if you don't have it, you can spend some time and work on that. But there are people who are biased, and it's very hard to like fight this bias. For some people who are like smart and intelligent, you can explain them why do we need like women in special forces, and they will understand that because there are arguments. But there are some people who are like they won't listen. They know they have their opinion, and of course their opinion is the best one because they're the smartest people. And then like culture won't help. What helps is like saying that these people are not supporting this culture. And culture fit means that you're hiring people who are supporting your culture. So they share similar values. And I believe that the values is something that defines the culture. And if you have people with the same values, it doesn't mean that you don't have diverse team. Mm-hmm. Because like saying that we are not killing people, it's like sharing the same value, right? But still, like we can have diverse team that is sharing this value, or like not using the physical aggression if we disagree with some arguments.
Well, yeah, that's the starting point.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think that the question is a little bit different because for me it was also natural. So I totally agree with you, Jakub. But I think that what the question is that what we can do today to do not have such situation in 10, 15 years, to do not have such discussion. Of course, this discussion is very important because now we are learning how to create those diversity. But maybe as a society we can do something today to change it and to make it normal for our kids that it doesn't matter if you are a girl or if you are a man, or it doesn't matter, yeah. And maybe it will be natural in next 10 or 15 years. And this is also the question that we have asked together with my sister, and it's also why we are working with children, yeah, to make them believing themselves. And I think that it's possible, yeah, if we start this work now, and if we would like to think about diversity as something normal, it will be normal in next few years.
Okay, I've got one more question for you guys, but before that, I would like to make sure that there's this moment. Maybe someone from the audience has a question, would like to ask.
No.
I also can see.
Maybe someone is just shy.
The operator has some.
I believe you can go with your question.
Yes, okay. My question was to wrap it up, to sum up, and I would like to ask each one of you for one tip and maybe one conclusion. We all know that diversity pays off, yes, and so that might be an argument for someone, but from your perspective, what tip would you give to startup at this point?
I think that
on how and why.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is here to just being yourself and maybe we can also ask ourselves the question why it's important. And today I would like to also ask you why for you diversity is important. And if today it's not important for you, it's totally okay. And this is the case. Yeah, this is okay that today you do not feel this topic, and just do not try to put into some KPIs, etc. Because it's okay. You are building your startup, and it's perfect for this moment. But maybe in next few years it will be for you something natural. So yeah, so I think this is what I would like to say here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so why is like if you're a startup and if when you do not have a diverse team, you will, I can bet, miss many business opportunities because you will like not see them, and that's the first problem. And if you want to build a diverse team in startup, for sure, like you should not exclude anyone based on their like religion, gender, race, or sexual orientation. And if you will manage to build a diverse team, that's the moment when you should shut up and listen to the opinion that are for sure different. But remember that you hired these people because they have different opinions, and having the people that are sharing your opinion or like saying you what you want to hear, it's like, I don't want to talk about the politics, but we see right now the situation on the world where we have one person and everyone else saying to this person what this person wants to hear. And that's why diverse team matters. So yeah, that's from me.
If you want to have the access to much more experts on the market, you have to build diverse teams. And if you want to do it well, you have to have a knowledge in your team, how to do it, how people who think different behave, what's important for them. So you have to give the knowledge to these people. And you have to build the culture of organization to create it normal that you've got people who are different. And if we want to change our future, we have to think more and more about children and give them all these values about which we talk today. Then it will be natural for them to create diverse teams.
I agree.
Me too.
And what about you, Agata?
Yes, I wanted to add something from my employer branding perspective. And I think that especially nowadays, in times of a great leave, when it's so easy to change an employer, it's so easy to change a job. Sometimes you don't even need to get up from the chair. You just change company and change the logo. And from this perspective, I think it's worth to take into consideration that recruiting, it's a cost, and onboarding a new employee is a cost. And when we create and when we support diversity and we create inclusive workplace, and we've got a solid cultural organization, this is the reason why people prefer to stay within the company and develop within the company. And nothing is more attractive right now in the labor market than companies with strong culture. And I think this is something that can really attract and make employees stay. And you can count it.
Yeah, for 76% of people, it's very important.
Thank you, Viola. I was sure you will back me with some research.
Yeah, I must add it.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you. It was a pleasure to discuss diversity topic. And thank all of you for joining our panel discussion. And hope to meet you in discussion later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.